Start with the first order of business is pledge allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. All right, first item for discussion and consideration is maintenance of yards and sidewalks on city right of way for easements. I think Alderman Johnson brought this one forward. You want to kick it off?
Yeah, I would, everybody hear me? This was an issue, I brought forward due to the fact that we have, the prairie there where it's not being maintained and all that. As you heard, the last contractor was here. I asked them in that session if they'd do it. But this would be something that we could get done. It's not intended to have elderly people that can't do it and stuff like that, but it's the main thoroughfares and stuff like that. I don't know if there's ways to, I mean, I even thought about, can you restrict it to commercial businesses? Is that even possible, John? Something like that? I don't know.
Unlikely.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I mean,
Well, O'Fallon has, keeping sidewalks free of snow and other obstructions. It's like sentence. And it's specifically all commercial property owners within the city limits shall keep sidewalks along or abutting their property clear of snow, ice, debris, and other obstructions, and shall cause them to be safe for pedestrian use. Yes, it doesn't talk about grass cutting and things like that, but from what I was reading online with the different cities, there was a real focus on the commercial enterprises keeping their sidewalks and parking lots safe from commercial activity, from people slipping on the ice or snow. And the other focus a lot of times was, we don't want bicycles on sidewalks and we don't want four-wheelers on sidewalks. But I didn't see anything, as far as having residents take care of that. And I think that's the big thing here. And a lot of times we're talking about not necessarily their backyard, but their easement. So it's not even your property, but it's like your property, easement, a fence, a sidewalk. Oh, you got to take care of that. And it seems, first of all, it seems from like a problem like Jeff trying to get people in line, that could be a nightmare to try to police that.
and I don't think it's something that we need to be policing as much as the bigger development, commercial developments and stuff like that. And to let them know when they do develop these things, that they are responsible to, because we can't enforce it now.
Yeah, well,
Even asking them to do it still wouldn't be enforceable if they decided not to, since we don't have anything.
I
Um,
agree, but I think it needs to be commercial development. It's not, I don't think residents need to be. I think there needs to be some nuance in how this is approached to make sure that it is for commercial activities and not trying to put this burden on our residents.
And I understand if it's a traditional subdivision, what I mean by that is you have the sidewalk in front of your house and the slab of grass in your front yard. That's a lot easier to maintain than having to, like I said, jump over a fence or ride down or whatever in order to try to do that. And it just seems onerous and burdensome. And I still say, why have an ordinance if you're not gonna police it?
Well, but we don't police a lot of our ordinance. We had that
Well, we should look at-
discussion already, that we don't enforce, we're handing out tickets to a neighbor and we don't enforce the person next door.
Well, maybe we should address the violators that we're really trying to reel in with this.
But you have to have a violation. It's not a violation as of right now. That's the issue. So
Yeah.
until we can get something on the books, for like the prairie to cut that grass, that's where we gotta go with it.
Yeah, I think those nuisance violations, as they stand right now, is generally if somebody calls and complains, Jeff goes out and looks at it. So that would be the enforcement. I don't see anyone in the neighborhood, not mowing all the way up to the yard. What I see is just the example that you gave. There's a main thoroughfare high traffic area and a more clear delineation of right of way.
And most of subdivisions that have HOAs mow the common ground
Yep.
out front all the way up to the road anyway. It's already done.
Yeah, there are some places, and Alderman Detweiler brought it up earlier about outside of Longview Estates, and that agree, that looks really bad. But even that situation, I'm reluctant to support a rule saying that the homeowner's responsible for it. Because you've got a firm stand of trees that create a clear delineation between the poorly kept MoDOT right of way, which has a drainage ditch that I think you could probably lose a small child in pretty easily. So in order for that resident to maintain it, they'd have to get down there and put on some big muck boots with a weed eater, and it'd be quite a job for them to do it. How do we make it reasonable so that a resident that, has a question on, should I cut that little 6-inch strip next to the sidewalk in front of my yard versus I'm gonna have to go out and hire a company hazmat suit
Well,
to do it kind of thing.
but let's go back to what we're talking about. We don't get complaints about things like that. We get complaints about the prairie where it's all right there.
I can guarantee you,
Yeah.
if people found out there was an ordinance, there would be
I have made numerous complaints and all I get told is that's a right of way and can't do anything. So there are complaints. But, and my big complaint with that is the people along in there seem to think it's perfectly fine to maintain that dip and that right of way when it suits them in front of their, what I call business, even though it's farm. And then anything just past that just goes to weeds. So, I mean, I see both sides. I don't think this was intended for residents originally. But, and I don't believe along Stump Road, those residents should have to do that. But I do think there are some instances where we should consider these properties commercial. And they should have to maintain that point because they found it okay to put 2 roads in off of their property onto N because that's convenient. But then they find it not convenient to maintain their fence line anywhere up further. So, you can't have it both ways.
I think what we're probably gonna run up against here is where our legal boundaries, what we can, should. That might be better helped because generally closed session might be good.
That's fine.
Engage our legal counsel, to get some guidance.
Yeah, I agree.
Is everyone okay with moving on to the next item of discussion?
Yep.
Number 2 is the municipal management software.
So I'd like to start on this. So in the IT business for over a decade now. And so something for me, I'm kind of keeping up with the progression of technology and how it impacts government specifically. And I think it's really important that we keep up with that as a city to maintain, viability with our staff, business efficiencies, and have technology continually incorporated into our business processes that's good, new, and current, well, not new, but current technology. My assessment between MyGov and GoGov at this point is GoGov between the two seems to be more advanced. But given the circumstances that we're in with the time frame and the time frame to move data over, deploy the new platform, I think it puts us too much at risk. So I just want to say that I think to me there's a clear winner here, but we can't move forward with it because of the time constraints that we're in. For that reason, I think we should stick with MyGov for now. But I think we should understand that, at least in ask the board to listen to me on this one. MyGov has not moved their technological base or their platform forward. They haven't, there's no app base to it. There's less utility from the user perspective. There's less utility from the constituencies' ability to actually interact with an app and have convenient parts of it. MyGov, and most IT companies do, try to evolve with their competition over time. So in a year from now, that could change. But for right now, you know, as much as I would want to really advocate and champion GoGov, I think that it puts us at a risk for an effective transition for now. So I would suggest 1 year, you know, like I say, a 1 year contract to give us an opportunity to, you know, open the aperture up, maybe even a little bit more, look at other platforms. But I still think we should consider GoGov in the future. But does that make sense?
Was
I'm
there,
saying-
was the pricing option for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year? Or how was that structured?
1 year contract, right?
Yeah, 1 year.
Just, that's all they offered was the 1 year, it wasn't discounted for 2 years or anything like that? Okay. That's where I was going, you
Yeah.
know, sometimes you get a discount for a second
Yeah.
year and sometimes, you know, it might have been better to go. in the
Absolutely.
second year.
And when we do find one we want to commit to and we have the time to transition, I think we should move forward with a more long-term,
Right.
you know, relationship. But I mean, it's frustrating because I was really excited to see GoGo. I really was. And MyGov, you know, it had its benefits, but it was just not, it didn't have the same pizzazz and the same excitement that I see with new technology. And you know, and they're a California-based company that's out there in the thick of current new technology. So it's exciting to see the GIS applications that were embedded into it. I think that there will also be if we do adopt GoGov in the future, there's going to be an adoption curve that we've got to consider as well. Because Kim, how long we've been using MyGov for? 10 years. So for the staff, there's going to be an adoption curve that we would want to give them consideration for, and also make sure that when we buy it, we get that as part of a package deal. But we can talk about all that later. This is just my 2 cents for
You
where
know,
we're at with
This is
voting on
what
it
you're
tonight.
gonna find crazy, is I agree with you.
Like I
Can somebody quickly take a note?
I have
Commemorate that?
comments, because I was at the thing with the staff at the demo. And yeah, it is a longer transition for GoGov, 3 months. And I will say too, I think, I forget what Todd called it, but it was like enhanced functionality. That app, I was like, oh my God. But then what's interesting is I know Jeff was like, oh dear God, you're gonna have people taking pictures of everything on an app. But so I think that there's different things and also too, all the functionality that was there.
Jeff,
Is it functionality? You don't mind I said that, Jeff?
it's gonna be there for us, but it's good record keeping.
It is.
You know, or instead of right now, people are gonna take a picture, they gotta bring it up and email it to somebody, and it's just, so go ahead, sorry to interrupt you, Carl.
No, that's okay.
not Carl.
And I get it that there was a lot more functionality with GoGo, but it was like, is it something that
Been a
we
long
really
time.
using? To me, the app was, I'm sorry, to me, the app was amazing.
Yeah.
But maybe there's, you know, stuff with MyGov that we've never been properly trained on. I think we were talking about that maybe there's some functionality there. Yes, they don't have the app right now, but, yeah, we also thought that given the time frame, because I think they talked about the transition would be, I think, wasn't it 6 weeks or 4 weeks or something? 6 weeks, yeah. So 6 weeks versus 3 months. And
Well, when you're deploying a new, so you're supplanting an existing
yes,
IT platform.
absolutely.
And so there's a couple of things. One, there's a deployment where you've got to, you know, collect the requirements from the customer. So that's a customizable. GoGov is customizable. So the time frame really is not just moving data over. You're talking about building a new platform that's customized for the business needs of this city. And that really is where I see that's the long pole in the tent with this. The data transfer then comes once you get all the points in place where the data is going to go to. But it's once you customize it. So you're rushing a customization tool when you're paying for it, but you may not actually have the time to do it thoroughly and properly. But I hear what you're saying. It's just, so there's a couple of things.
Oh, no,
You're hitting the same points. Yeah, I
And
agree.
it's unrealistic to think you would have the same transition time because you have one product that you've been using. It's not gonna, the population, it's gonna be just a lot more seamless. Well, another thing that was interesting is GoGov has not been around as long, 2008, versus I believe MyGov has been around in time.
In the IT world, that's not always a good thing.
Is not, okay. Well, then, the other thing that we found interesting though, was that GoGov couldn't mention any Missouri cities that were using it. And MyGov is used by a lot of different cities, Town and Country, University City, Richmond Heights, Pacific, Jennings, Pine Lawn.
It'll be different.
I guess it's good to be different, but these,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you some of the notes that I took during
Yeah,
this
yeah.
thing. So this is, yeah, because I agree with you in that I think GoGov was pretty impressive, but I also think, given our time constraints, that it's probably not realistic to, that conversion would be really ugly, given the time frames. And MyGov is 19,000 a year versus 28,000 a year for GoGov. So, yeah.
One thing I'd like to note is when this was first brought to us, we were told, if everybody else remembers this, I'm going by memory, but that there was 18-month trial and evaluation period of
Okay.
multiple solutions. And we found no record of any other solutions evaluated. Is that correct? Were you able to find, Kim, any other solutions that were evaluated under this?
And that's true. We would like to see more, because these were just two that we looked at, and one
Right.
of them which we
Yeah.
already had.
So what I would seek consensus on from the board is, and we'll vote on this on the selection in the regular meeting, but if we go with MyGov, which I would recommend we do, that we also direct city staff to look at the current outlay of municipal management softwares and have a true evaluation that includes key stakeholders and bring a recommendation to the board by early next year with enough time that we can implement any recommendations that.
I would like to add to that too. There's a ton of obscure, very specific conferences that, and I would be surprised if there was one for a municipal management software conference or something that's related to, city software, city technology and city conference. And I, for the next year, whenever that may be, I think that's probably a great opportunity to send some folks down, some representation from the city and go to one of those technology conferences if it's there. So I would ask that if we were to do that for the city, but also to look and explore what conferences might be out there in the next year as we're looking to potentially move to a long-term plan and maybe move into a new software baseline for this. We take that step too, and I think that'd be a good conference for us to attend.
I do have a question for you. When we move over to GoGov or whatever platform we move to next year, when is that timeline should start? And do we need to put something in our calendar to say we need to start this process now?
I think we should, just off the cuff, I'd say that by July, we would want to have a good understanding of which direction we're moving. Because we do move to increments with decision-making and financial, impacts. But I would say it's a great question, and I would say we would probably want to look to, by July, have a good understanding of which direction we're going to go. And it wouldn't be that hard. So even from now and the 9 months we have to then, plenty of time, even if you put it at a 6-month window. But those folks, once you start to do some research and identify, they're going to want to do everything they can to get your business. So I think it would be a fair amount of time to get.
So July, the vote should be made, or July, we need to start talking?
I would say July, we should be giving money to an organization
Thank you.
to start the development of a new platform
Got it.
that we would want to deploy January 1st, 2026.
Thank you.
Which means that evaluation should start
In May.
no later than
Mid-January?
you have time.
Okay.
So I'm putting a reminder on my calendar, so.
That's not the, that's Alderman Whitteman's off the cuff assessment of a deployment, but they were saying they could do this in 3 months, but we'd want to give them 5 or 6 if you could. So you want to give us a runway in case there's some.
How many technical implementations run over a schedule in your line of work?
No, of course, no.
They're
Never any
always
external
fun.
impacts that the vendor brings to you. Oh, sorry, we're late. Thank you.
Right. Any more discussion on that one? Right. Item 3, Town Square Vision Steering Committee Final Report and Recommendation. Does anyone have anything to report on that? Any questions, concerns? Anyone want to say something?
I would like to hear from Carl Moss.
So we have to wait until then to close this and move forward? Just correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, the next action would be presentation to planning and zoning.
And
Okay.
it's just a referral. It's not holding us up from doing anything. I mean,
Just want to confirm.
yeah, it's not stopping us.
And to remind, in the last meeting, we directed the vision committee to have something prepared by the first planning and zoning meeting in October, so still within.
Okay.
So at that meeting, though, I believe that is the official, that day is the termination.
No, we don't, and the reason we don't is they voted and they're done. So by taking that action, they have to spend.
Okay,
You're just getting a report from the chair.
sounds good.
A regular meeting.
Anyone want to make any statements, comments, or have discussion about anything in the agenda?
Well, I'd like to talk about Stump Road. Specifically about more recent things where we've seen this big, huge pipe that's gonna be going into right behind Joel's house, and the pines and the trees that, because HR Green said, and I was out there when they said that, when they told him, they're like, oh, we're just, this will be this one tree. Well, now they're uprooting trees left and right, it seems. So
So since that is not on the regular agenda, I don't know
Yeah.
if we can talk about that under this one.
Okay.
But we can in communications.
okay,
Make a statement.
all right,
So hold that thought.
all right, thank you.
I would entertain a motion for closed session pursuant to RSMO 610-021, section 1.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Yeah, roll call vote.
The roll call. And then we'll follow up with the roll call.
Alderman Wilson,
Hey, yes.
Alderman Detweiler,
I,
Alderman
Aye.
Widman,
Aye.
Alderman Gedmeyer,
Aye.
Alderman Johnson,
Aye.
Alderman Kessler.
Aye. Right, we're gonna go into another closed session very briefly. Right back.
I'm going in this one.
Oh.
Although she's been, reading some stuff. Some of the stuff you've been reading is, yeah.
They're not, there's no. Hello.
Hey, what? Wilson. My favorite two things, also. That's all. All there, I have a lot. I'll sit over here, Steve.
Just recently, last year.
All that. Yeah, in that meantime.
Oh, yeah. No. That's maybe.
Okay, yeah. Yes. I don't know. Don't you think you ought to strike a pose like this? There you go. There you go. There you go. Easy, easy, easy. Why did he say? Oh, you see, I've been saying it.
What are you, man?
Oh, this is rain.
Oh, hi. Hi.
Mom had to work late tonight, so can you bring Peter McDonald's at my house for?
Nice. You're,
Twice, if you have a drink that has part iced tea and part lemonade, what is it called?
It is called typically an Arnold Palmer.
Please go.
Yeah, it's Arnold Palmer was a famous golfer. He was probably the first sports figure to buy his own jet airplane too, and to be a pilot. Yep.
You know what? Yeah, Jim, that's where Jeff.
Yeah. The bear.
Out in this. Of Columbus, and we would go to the dairy on Sunday nights and watch him fly in on his private jet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But Arnold Palmer originated all that, the jet, and he became his own pilot. Yeah, not many, hardly any other athletes ever did that. He actually took the time to become a pilot. Mhm. Yeah, it's to own your own plane and that it's attainable, but it's very expensive for maintenance. Yeah, that's a smart. That's what a lot of that net jets, you've probably seen commercial for net.
Keys and then to the desk. And if another pilot leaves the car for a few days, they drive your car.
Yeah, I think that's kind of an unwritten rule. Yeah. My dad was a pilot.
Was he?
Yeah, he, not commercial, no. He was just a private pilot. And I used to fly with him all kinds of places. I've landed in a cornfield too. And you want to talk about scary. In a storm, like we got hit by lightning and we lost instrument control. I was probably 19. Oh yeah, it was scary. I mean, you can get hit by a car. I mean, well, speaking of golf, so I'm on the board at St. Charles Community College. And I'm actually the golf chairman for the fundraiser for scholarships. And Brian is volunteering. It's this Monday at Old Hickory. Yeah, it's not, well, so we have a deal, because the college is right across the street. And so we have a pretty long-standing deal with them
Oh,
that,
that's
we pay them, but they give us a good deal. And this year, for the second year in a row, we're sold out, which we give out about $50,000 in scholarships every year. Where our endowment just hit over 2 million this year
That's.
for a community college. For a regular college like WashU, their endowment's like 2 billion.
That's.
I always wonder. I always wondered about endowments. But 2 million. My dad went to WashU, but he $2 billion worth of endowment.
And I get, you want to keep money in there, but when does that money ever get spent? You never hear about them spending down any of that. They always just increase it.
Oh, my mother,
That's college tuitions.
my mother-in-law. So every time that the university president, Ohio State's president gets a raise, she finds out what the football coach is making.
Oh,
Trust me, she writes them.
oh yeah, I mean, I bet you the Ohio State coach is probably making close to 10 mil. The Ohio State.
You know, nobody.
Okay.
That's the funniest. Yes, it's called the Ohio State, but nobody.
Where did that start?
Well, it's just what it is, what its actual name is, but it was when they started, on the broadcast, they would have the kids announce themselves and go.
Right, right.
And then they.
Playing,
The
right,
United States.
right.
Yeah, we have had to say the on it, our golf cart says the on it. But there's a small college in town, called Otterbein, and my best friend went to my school there. So not long ago, it's only funny.
Did you go to
We
the?
went to Ohio State, we
Did
both did.
I've
And,
got a couple neighbors that have.
yeah, and, so I made, it's only funny in Columbus, Ohio, but I made. It says the Otterbein University.
Right.
And every time she wears it, people are like, well, where did you get it? I mean, it's just don't Columbus, you know? You know, the other side of everything fancy you want to do. Oh, okay, the show must all. Yes, yes, she is. Yeah, we know you're going to sign this and everything. Yeah. I'm sorry. But I will go leaving. I've never seen. I got a hold on to this a year, so I got it as a souvenir. Yeah. Mom and Dad have a little bit of an underlap tonight, his wife will live. Yeah. Put on a big, your dad will love it. There you go, there you go.
So I have a question for you. I do. Since you asked me a question, I gotta ask you one back. I didn't necessarily want to ask him for, so do you know what it's called when you add vodka to that same drink?
Oh, yeah.
John Daly. He actually has his marketed drink too. They're selling like crazy. It's through a company that he has partnership with called Good Boy Vodka. And they are selling the pre-mixed John Daly's.
Well, that's what somebody needs to do.
Oh, yeah. Bye-bye.
You're not gonna see what you came under, I guess. Okay, but somebody right up here, just look right up
There you go.
here.
Yeah, I always enjoy. Yeah. Good thing. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, sir.